What's going on, Mountaineer Nation? Welcome into the West Virginia postgame show here at the Voice of College Football. We appreciate you tuning in here as we simulcast both on the West Virginia channel and on the Big 12 channels. I appreciate you tuning in on either one of those, and ask you to subscribe to either one of those you're on. I got a link there in the chat to our newly created Big 12 channel. Please subscribe there if you're a fan of college football, Big 12 team, any of the above there. We really appreciate you as we continue to try and grow that newly created channel there from the grassroots level. And you guys can really help us do that as you have with the West Virginia channel, as it's really grown here as of late and continues to do so. And speaking of West Virginia, albeit through a rain delay that delayed the game for a couple of hours, and of course delayed us here for a couple of hours, probably coming at you a couple more hours later than you expected, but that's okay. It was at least a good end result for West Virginia this time, and we get to talk some positive things here after a West Virginia win rather than the first one this season coming after a West Virginia loss as the Mountaineers come out on top 56-17. But if you haven't been here before for one of these post-game shows, let me introduce myself. I'm Jordan. I'm one of the hosts of the Country Roads webcast. We do a WVU Sports podcast, I guess I should say, because we cover basketball now. Has added that in the past couple of seasons, but started off as a podcast, developed into a YouTube channel, and then we started hosting the West Virginia post-game shows here on the West Virginia Voice College Football channel last year. So second season doing this thing and have really enjoyed it, and I love chatting with you guys about these games. So be sure to drop your thoughts down there in the comments below on West Virginia's first win of the 2023 season, getting the home opener, coming out on top 56-17 over Duquesne, which sets up a big showdown in week 3 against Pittsburgh. And that's a big time game. I know that the tickets for have been a hot commodity. They sold out fast. I know when they released the single game tickets, they sold out within 10 minutes. So sometimes the tickets for those can be hard to find, but I know one place where you could find them easily, and we can get you a great deal on that here from the Voice of College Football Network here, and that's Ticket Smarter. And if you use Ticket Smarter, you can save on your next trip to the big game. Get $10 off an order of $100 or more by using the promo code BIG, or get $20 off an order of $300 or more using the promo code BIG20. Use the promo code as much as you'd like. Ticket Smarter gives you the most competitive prices on the secondary market, and your purchase is safe and guaranteed. Get in the game with Ticketsmarter.com and the Ticketsmarter mobile app. And remember the promo code BIG and BIG20. Think smarter, Ticket Smarter. So definitely check that out if you're looking for tickets still for the Backyard Brawl. We know it's coming up, and it's a big showdown for the Mountaineers next week. As you see the ticker there on the bottom, you can check it out. There's also a comment there in the chat if you want to use the link there, and be sure to use that promo code. Help you out there. But I appreciate you guys tuning in here. We got Timothy Green in here. What's going on, Timothy? I appreciate you tuning in and chiming in here to the post-game show following the West Virginia win. He says, what's up, Mountaineer Nation? Almost heaven, West Virginia. Q Country Roads. Hey, that's right. Play it. 56-17. Big win. Let's go, Mountaineers. G Smyrna 746 says, did you all get cut off by ESPN Plus in the third quarter? I did not. Once it returned from the rain delay, I was all good on my ESPN Plus feed. Hopefully that didn't happen for a lot of people. Be sure to let us know in the chat. Did that happen for anyone else? Did everyone else get a chance to catch the whole game? I know it worked out for me. Hate to hear that, G Smyrna, if that did happen. Hopefully at least got to listen on the radio or something. That's terrible, but I'm not surprised. You know, ESPN Plus has had its issues in the past, and I've had my issues with it. Surprisingly, today I really didn't have that many. I thought it was, you know, of course, it's all relative because, you know, like I said, some of the experiences in the past have been pretty bad with the app, but today it went well for me. So Joey Foster says, we are not Penn State. We are the mighty Mountaineers, and we are here to win. Next up, the big losers of the day. Eat Pitt. Hey, I know that's right. It's Pitt Hate Week officially. We're kicking it off now after the end of this game. I know, you know, Sunday starts the new week, but I mean, this game's over. West Virginia won. We can move on to the next one officially now. And this one, it's a big one. It's a big one, guys. But as far as this one's concerned, I wanted to get into some stuff in regards to it. Jason Rollison says, what's up, everyone? What's going on, Jason? Appreciate you being in here, and everyone else that's in here as well for this West Virginia post-game show here at the Voice of College Football channel. But I took some notes throughout the game just so I would kind of remember some talking points I wanted to hit on throughout. So I'm gonna try and run it through it chronologically, but encourage you guys as we go. Share your thoughts in the chat. We'll touch on some of those throughout as well. I'd love to answer any questions you got, and then read your comments as well in regards to this game, because certainly when it's a lopsided win, I know it feels like there's not a lot to talk about, but honestly, there may be more to talk about because you see a lot of guys get action that you don't see a lot of times. Saw towards the end, you've seen a lot of walk-ons get in there. You've seen CJ Cole getting receptions, and you've seen the second, third team offensive lineman get action. You saw true freshman DJ Oliver get his first career touchdown. So a lot of stuff you won't get to see throughout the season. You did get to see, especially in the tail end of this game. But there's a major storyline involving Hudson Clement. I know, of course, we'll get into that. But just breaking it down, kind of the way it went initially. First drive for West Virginia. Actually, the defense came out, started well on the first couple of plays. Trey Lathan, great pressure on a first down delay blitz, jet sweep action from Duquesne, play action. But Trey Lathan came in and broke that up, nearly had a sack. The quarterback got it away at the last second. They tried to run on second down. It was stuffed. I think they got a 2-yard gain. West Virginia running that 3-man front. I believe it was Mike Lockhart that got in on that one. 3rd and 8, West Virginia rushed 4. And, something that I was looking for was tighter coverage in this game. And Neil Brown had talked about that even in the pregame. You heard him talking about they were going to play tighter coverage because that's something we had all seen. It felt like the coverage had been too loose. They were playing off of the receivers. It's 3rd and 5, and we got our defensive back 12 yards off the receiver. And so the first third down, they had 3rd and 8. We rushed 4, and our coverage is soft. And it's an out route to the wide receiver who's open because of the soft coverage. But luckily, the throw's off, so we force a 3 and out. But then, unfortunately, that is the first blunder of the season for West Virginia, where that comes into play right after West Virginia forces that 3 and out. You get the punt that's short, so it hops, kind of in an unexpected way, I think. And Jacoby Spells, I don't think, saw it until it was right up on him, bounces off of his leg. So technically the first turnover of the season right there for the Mountaineers on the quote-unquote muffed punt, I guess you would have to call that there. But either way, resume drive then for Duquesne. They start off with a handoff to Taj Butts up the middle, 7-yard gain. And then you get a first TFL you would have of the day for Maubrey Burks, and he would have more than one in this game. He also would have a sack. So I think you see his physicality, despite the fact that he's coming from the second level there in the back end playing free safety for the Mountaineers. But that forced him into 2nd and 12. But then on 2nd and 12, we saw the first thing that we were hoping to not see a lot in this game. And unfortunately, we saw it more than we would have hoped, especially early in this game. It's really a tale of 2 halves in a way for West Virginia, but those halves being pre-rain delay and post-rain delay. But on the 2nd and 12, after the Aubrey Burks TFL on what is, I guess the second drive for Duquesne, but kind of the resumed initial drive was what I called it. But that's when the coverage breaks down. DJ Powell gets behind the secondary. He beats Andrew Wilson-Lamp deep for a 38-yard touchdown. And, it was actually – he was open enough that the throw was even underthrown, and he had enough time to wait on the ball to come in. And after that, Andrew Wilson-Lamp was actually pulled in favor of Malachi Ruffin. And although still left a lot to be desired on that other side, I think at cornerback, things seemed to work a little bit smoother once Malachi Ruffin came in after that first drive. But I think outside of Beanie Bishop, I've got a lot of faith in him. I think I've seen him do some good things. He seems like the lone West Virginia corner I've seen that has shown the ability or the want to get up and kind of press receivers. And then, when a pass is coming in, he makes an effort to make a play on the ball. We saw him later in this game high point the ball and make an interception. So that's kind of my thoughts on the initial drive. I'll get into when West Virginia has the ball here momentarily, but let me catch up on some comments here. Seems like we got some more people rolling in now. G Smartness says, where was Justin Johnson? I didn't see him at all. Justin Johnson was actually out for this game. Pre-game, it was announced. Justin Johnson. So I'm glad you brought that up because there's probably some faces that a lot of Mountaineer fans were wondering why they didn't see that one of those being running back Justin Johnson, because West Virginia did finally release a depth chart. prior to the start of this game. I might try and pull that up here momentarily if I remember. But Justin Johnson, surprisingly to me, was actually listed second behind C.J. Donaldson because to the eyes, it seems like Jalen Anderson's definitely the second stringer in terms of carries and who's in there first. But Justin Johnson was out for this game with injury, as was Traylon Ray at the wide receiver position and Devin Carter. Both of those are going to be back for the next game. I think it was more precautionary than anything, if you're asking me. And then defensive back Montre Miller was out as well. And that one seems like it could be long term. I don't know if it's season long term, but sounds like he might be out for a little bit. And that's troublesome with the issues West Virginia's had at corner. And, you had kind of 4 guys you were counting on there to play at those 2 spots. And now you might be down to 3. So somebody else might have to step up, and hopefully that 4th person that steps up is Jacoby Spells. I know we've had high hopes for him, but Justin Johnson was out for this one with a few of those other guys that I named, and still Marcus Floyd as well remains out. EJ Horton remains out at wide receiver on offense as well. He missed this one, but we did see Deshaun Polk make his return. We saw Jaheim White make his return. A couple of guys that missed week 1 and made their Mountaineer debuts here in game 2. Joey Foster says he was not happy with the QB play at all from either quarterback, but was extremely happy with the wide receiver Clement. Where the crap did he come from? Love it. Yeah, I know. It's a guy that, I was high on coming out because West Virginia got him to come in as a preferred walk-on last season. And I know he's a player that's been talked about that has, a lot of talent, but in my opinion, it was someone that I thought we would see play in this game, but probably in the latter half of this game. I certainly didn't have him down as starting and doing what he did, which I'll get more into in a bit. But he's a talented guy. I know Martinsburg High School state title game, he had 8 touchdowns. Randy Moss, wide receiver of the year that year. And really, the coaches had mentioned him sparingly, I guess, through fall camp, not a ton. I know Bilal Marshall had brought him up. I think Huddy Tuddy was the nickname they gave to him, Hudson Clement there, which I like. But he certainly stood out in this game, and I think could be a player for West Virginia on the outside, because that's something we were talking about prior to this game coming out of game 1, is it looked like you had one wide receiver, you had Devin Carter, but you needed to establish some secondary guys. Who's going to be your number 2 wide receiver? Because the guys that you thought might be your number 2 wide receiver, one of those being Traylon Ray, he was out for this game. The other one being Cortez Braham, hasn't really shown us yet that ability yet this season. I think he only had 1 or 2 catches in this game. So you're looking for somebody to step up, and Hudson Clement had an opportunity with some players being out for this game. He's a walk-on, not even a scholarship guy, and he comes out and makes the most out of that opportunity. And, West Virginia has 1 scholarship remaining, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken. So who knows if he might be awarded one at some point throughout this season. He certainly earned it with his performance today. And, unfortunately, we can't copy and paste that to another game throughout the season, but I think it definitely showed that he's ready to contribute in some way for West Virginia this season, be it a starter or a role player at the wide receiver position. I think you might have found a diamond in the rough there, I guess you could say, in Hudson Clement. I certainly agree. I love the way that he looked. As far as the QB play, Joey, mixed bag, but I thought Garrett looked a lot better passing wise than he did in week 1. And I guess that's to be expected with the level of opponent, the discrepancy of opponent here, FCS to Power 5 in this game. But just all in all, his deep balls were really on target. I think he ended up 10 of 18, but I know he had off the top of my head at least probably 3 drops. So that, that would put him, 13, 18, which would be, pretty lot better percentage than what he ended up with, but stats wise were great. 240 yards, 4 touchdowns. And I thought that's one thing that looked really good in this one. He still did have a couple of throws that he missed. I know Cole Taylor was open once. He missed him high, and trying to think, can't remember what the other one was, but I know he missed at least one more, but it was more of a mid-range pass. I thought his deep ball accuracy looked great today. Nico, settled in more the longer he was in there. Thought he looked really good with his legs. Passing, you can see he has all the arm talent, and I think it's just more of the decision making. I think the commentator mentioned that Neil Brown had said that he has all the talent in the world, but he's just in his head and thinking too much right now. And I think you can see that a little bit with Nico out there. But I thought Garrett looked good. We know what he gives us in the running game, but I thought he really showed tried to showcase anyway, and maybe trying to disprove some of the naysayers that were really knocking on him after week one, because in this game he seemed to make all the right reads again. He didn't, turn the ball over again, and the throws that he missed, he just missed. It wasn't like he was throwing to the wrong guy. He was going through his progressions, making the right read, and I thought, like I said, the passes that were dropped were in the receiver's hands, a couple of them in the end zone. So I thought the quarterback play was better, I guess I would say. The H27 says, feel like Montre Miller has played well. Maybe he should get a shot. Hurt this game, but in the future. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm kind of worried about Yates 27, is because I know he's out for this game, but also it sounds like it might be longer than just a one game thing. I'm hoping it's not super long term. We'll see if they have anything else to say about it. Neil might talk about it more in his press conference on Monday, hopefully, but I don't know. We'll see, because West Virginia definitely needs help at the cornerback position. They need more bodies there. If Montre Miller is going to be out for a while, it's time for Jacoby Spells to step up in a big way for sure. Rob LaFawn, appreciate you tuning in and chiming in. He says, love the stream, brother. I'll take the win. It's Hate Pit Week. Let's go. Hey, let's go Mountaineers, Rob. Hate Pit Week indeed. Kicking it off in the right way. Kicking it off in the right way for sure. Oh, let's see here. All right, so let me get back to the flow of the game here. I'll catch up on y'all's comments here momentarily after the 56-17 win, but encourage you guys to continue to drop them in there. Thoughts, questions, concerns, whatever you got following the West Virginia win. And do us a favor, though, whether you're on the Big 12 channel or West Virginia channel, and we hope that you're subscribed on either one of those that you're tuned in on. Give this video a like. Hitting that thumbs up button, it'll really help not only this video's performance, but future videos performances on the channel as well. And if you're a West Virginia fan, college football fan, Big 12 fan, like I said, hit that subscribe button. Helps us and you, helps get more of this Mountaineer sports content out to Mountaineer Nation. But West Virginia's first possession, I kind of chuckled a little bit, because the very first play West Virginia ran in the game, they went under center, two tight ends, only two wide receivers, and a handoff up the middle. Kind of went old school. I don't know for sure off the top of my head if that was the only time they went under center in the game, but I believe that it might have been. But funny that they started the game off that way. First, after that handoff, that's when I realized Hudson Clement was in at wide receiver, because Garrett Green had him on an out route, and that's the other throw that I was thinking of that he missed, was that one early. So he missed a couple early and then seemed to kind of settle in, but he had Hudson Clement on an early out route with soft coverage, just with kind of a nice little 5-yard out, easy completion, and air melted a little bit. So that's the only thing I will say. Still, he's missing on a couple of those throws, the easy ones, the layups Neil Brown was talking about. I'd say he hit a higher percentage of those layups in this game, but still certainly missing on some of them. And then you get a 3-yard CJ run, which set up a 3rd and long. And then on that 3rd and long, Cortez Braham dropped a wide open out route that this time Garrett Green put on the money, and WVU was forced to punt. Then, as I said, on the Duquesne second possession, that's when we got Malachi Ruffin replacing Andrew Wilson-Lamp at cornerback, which I thought was more successful for West Virginia moving forward throughout that, first half, I guess, if you can call it that, pre-rain delay, whatever you want to call it. But Day Hawkins and a gang of others forced TFL on the first down run for Duquesne. Then you got Trey Lathan again coming in with some pressure, and I think that's becoming kind of his signature calling card, is these delayed blitzes that, comes up the middle screaming, and the quarterback's forced out of the pocket, or he's going to get a sack, because he really flies in there. And I really like what I've seen from Trey Lathan there playing that will linebacker spot for West Virginia. We knew it was a question mark coming into the season, but I think Trey Lathan has answered a lot of those questions with his play. And so West Virginia gets the 3 and out, flips the field, start their next possession in Duquesne territory. And then on their second possession, finally get a little bit more success there. See, you got Clement and Jeremiah Aaron in as the 2 wide receivers, 21 personnel with Jeremiah Aaron and CJ Donaldson in the backfield, which I like. That's why I had to jot that down as a note, because that's one thing against Penn State. I think we didn't see a lot of it, because I think West Virginia felt like they had to use a lot of 2 tight ends, both for pass protection and extra help in the run game, extra gaps against that very fast Penn State defense and that very strong defensive line. But in this game, we saw West Virginia be able to both utilized their slot wide receivers more with some 4 wide out sets, some more 3 wide out sets. And then we got to see, something we heard about a lot through the preseason and throughout fall camp, the 2 running back sets. And this was the first time we saw it on the second possession for West Virginia. And we'd see it throughout the game. And I liked what West Virginia utilized out of it. Saw some different things. Read option looks out of it. And then you would get your outside zone, your sweep plays with, CJ as a lead blocker for Jalen or vice versa. And then also, I think when Jaheim White was in, I saw one really nice play design I liked where you got that same sweep outside zone action, but the running back that's typically going out, doing the lead block and had done that all game. It was Jaheim White on this play, and he slipped up on a wheel route. They weren't able to connect, but it was there, and I think that's something you might see West Virginia come back to later in the season. 2nd and 6 on the West Virginia second possession. Garrett Green's deep ball on target for Preston Fox in the end zone, but Preston Fox couldn't haul it in. Like I said, that's one that should have been a touchdown. One of those I was talking about that Garrett Green hit on the money. Unfortunately for Preston Fox, that was his second straight game dropping a touchdown pass, as we saw him do it against Penn State. But I would say he would make up for it later in the game. More on that. But then you get on 3rd and 6, you trust the run game. C.J. Donaldson on the outside zone sweep play to the right for a first down on 3rd and 6. Jaheim White's first carry of his career, not the best, lost 2 or 3 yards, but he would more than redeem himself later on in the game as well. Excellent performance from the true freshman. You guys that follow the Country Roads Webcast YouTube channel have seen me raving on him throughout the offseason. Put out a video talking about West Virginia potentially finding another true freshman phenom running back for the second consecutive season with Jaheim White after doing so with C.J. Donaldson last season. And I really think that they may have done so. And the more Jaheim White comes into his own, the better, because I think the combination of C.J. Donaldson and Jaheim White together can be lethal. Jaheim White's speed to go with C.J. Donaldson's size and power. You get the diminutive Jaheim White that, the defense kind of loses, and he's twitchy and has that home run hitting capability. But then Jalen Anderson run set up a 3rd and 10 outside zone again to Jalen Anderson, who picks up a 15-yard gain on that 3rd and 10. And then we get the first collegiate touch for Rodney Gallagher. We had been wanting to see him. They run a reverse play to him. And actually, there was a couple people in the backfield, but this is where you see the talent of Rodney Gallagher. You see the high ceiling that has everyone so excited. Makes a couple people miss in the backfield with his elusiveness, to the point that he actually broke a guy's ankles and made him fall on his first collegiate touch. The most exciting 7-yard gain you may have seen all day coming from Rodney Gallagher there. And then the next play, you get the RPO look, and it's Hudson Clement on the slant, the in-cutting route coming from the far side of the field there, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the wide side. Cutting in, makes the catch for the 14-yard touchdown. First career touchdown for Hudson Clement would be the first of multiple on the day for him. So that's a little recap of West Virginia's first scoring drive. See who else we got in here in the comments. Let me try and catch up on some of your all's thoughts as we roll through here, guys. I appreciate you all tuning in and chiming here to the West Virginia postgame show here at the Voice of College Football, as West Virginia defeats Duquesne 56-17 in the second game of the season to move to 1-1, just ahead of the Backyard Brawl Showdown in Morgantown. Night game on ABC coming up next Saturday night. So as Joey Foster says here, we really definitely could appreciate this. There should be a link to it in the chat there. If not, Joey, would you care to post one? It's also going to be scrolling along the bottom here on the banner, as you can see there. Definitely subscribe to the Big 12 channel. We're trying to grow that up, and continue to subscribe to the West Virginia channel if you're a Mountaineer fan and you haven't already. As Joey says, WVU is the only team in the Big 12 with the channel, so that's pretty awesome. Continue to support it, Mountaineer fans. And we'll continue to be here throughout the season for these post-game shows. My CRW co-host couldn't be here with me tonight. Both those, one stuck at work, and Steven's actually traveling back from Morgantown with that rain delay and stuff. I think they, left out, sometime in the third quarter or whatever. But we live down here in the bottom part of the state, Mercer County, so it's about, 3 to 4 hours away from Morgantown, actually. But that's all right. I'm here with you guys, and we'll chat it up with you. But we'll be here throughout the season for more of these post-game shows. But glad to be here after a win for this one. Timothy Green said Cincinnati Bearcats looked pretty tough today. Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised, I guess, with their play, because I thought that they would be, a bottom tier Big 12 team coming in here, breaking in a new coach and everything. But seems like the bottom might actually be Houston after what we saw today, right? They struggled in week 1. They did surprise me. I thought they would lose to UTSA. They got that win, but then today, completely different story. So, yeah, interesting. And then, Baylor, I think some people were surprised by how that's going. They nearly, pulled off the upset of Utah, but Utah with the was it third string quarterback? I think Nate Johnson is his name, Noah Johnson, something like that. That was in there playing for Utah, but Utah ends up, coming on top, and that's 6 straight losses for Baylor dating back to last season. I've heard everyone say so. Some people are saying Dave Aranda might be, joining Neil Brown on the hot seat, but who knows? Neil Brown can cool off his seat a lot if he can pick up a win over Pitt, but that's the major game for him, for this program, his future, and the future of West Virginia football, really, if you're asking as far as this season's concerned. So, but I agree, Timothy. Cincinnati did look pretty tough. Sir Thomas says they played Sweet Carolina at the end of the third quarter tonight. A little warm up for next week. Hey, there we go. I like it. Yeah, just getting them a little warmed up. Get them a little warmed up there, Sir Thomas. Great way of putting it. I've heard they did do some interesting new things, though, at the stadium, that they broke out some new things. Like I heard there was flames to go with fireworks and stuff down on the field, and Ren Baker was saying as much in his pregame conversation, so that's cool. On the upcoming CRW podcast episode, our Duquesne review, I'll have Stephen back with me, and of course he was there, and he can maybe talk a little bit about that. So be sure to look out for our upcoming podcast episode coming out this week. We'll have that coming, and then of course the Pitt preview as well. So not only subscribe to the West Virginia Big 12 channel, but check us out as well. Country Roads Webcast here on YouTube and all podcast platforms. But the H27 says, let's go Bearcats, LOL. John Waffle Hill to Pitt says the better team did not win today. Hey, man, I guess that's a matter of opinion, right? Only team in the Big 12, only 15 team channels, and WView is one of them. We need to support him. Watch Wolfman's Call Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. on the WView channel. Yeah, guys, Wolfman's doing great work. Dale Wolfley, I'm sure you all know him that follow Mountaineer Sports. He's got a show going weekly here live. You can come into the chat, talk to him, everything. And he really does awesome stuff, breaking down film, interviews with former West Virginia players, coaches, you name it. It's really awesome stuff. So if you haven't been watching that, you're missing out. Tune in here at the West Virginia Voice of College Football channel, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. To check that out as well. That's really great stuff there too, Joey. Glad you brought that up. See who else we got here in the chat. Nick DTV, appreciate you, man, tuning in and chiming in. The weather today was a blessing in disguise for us because it really came out unprepared and sloppy. Yeah, 100%. That's one thing that I wanted to mention as well was that weather, it was 2 completely different West Virginia teams. You can really look at it pre-rain delay and post-rain delay. And post-rain delay was certainly a lot more entertaining, certainly a lot better looking than it was initially, because I was questioning if a lot of the guys had showed up for the game or if they, had took naps prior to and were still half asleep, because it really certainly did look, like you said, they're a little bit unprepared and sloppy, especially the offensive line. They really let me down early. The run blocking and stuff wasn't exactly there within those first, that first quarter and a half, I guess it was. But they really picked things up after that rain delay. The whole team did in general. So I don't know what was said to them during the rain delay, but whatever it was worked, I guess, because they really turned it on, and fingers crossed they were just looking ahead to Pitt, right? But that's what we can say, I guess. But when you come out on top, it's all good in the end. But definitely the weather delay, blessing in disguise. Great way of putting it, Nick DTV. Appreciate that. HR Picking Stuff says Cincinnati is legit. It appears that way. Indeed. Appreciate everybody tuning in here. Continue to drop your chats or your comments down there in the chat, questions, concerns, as we continue to talk about the 56-17 victory for West Virginia in Game 2 of the 2023 WVU football season. HR Picking Stuff says JT Daniels threw for 401 yards and 3 touchdowns. Rice beats Houston. I know Rice was smacking him, and I'd heard that he was really putting it on him, but that is awesome. I love that for JT. A lot's been made of him and the journeyman, I guess, career you can say that he's had. Some people have liked to make light of it, but I think it's awesome to see him having success after all the adversity that he's had to face, throughout his collegiate time. So that's awesome to see, Rice beating, the fellow team there. Rice is in Houston as well, if I'm not mistaken. So that's pretty cool to see them defeat Houston, 401 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's big. That's big. Big performance from JT. Glad to see it. And that Houston defense is in trouble this season. Houston probably should have been predicted 14th in the Big 12, not West Virginia. It certainly looks like to me. Rob L, me and you both are certainly in agreement there. I do the same, man. That's when I work, I'm usually always just listening to podcasts. So I try and take in all of them too, man. Hopefully you can follow Country Roads webcast if you don't already. We'd appreciate it, and definitely subscribe here to the West Virginia Voice College Football channel. But I'm gonna try and run through some more of these notes here. Appreciate you guys, and continue to drop your thoughts in here as we go through here as well. That will be awesome. Let me see where I was at here, if I can remember now. Take a swig of my coffee real quick while I find my spot. All right. So when we're at Duquesne's third possession of the game, they face 3rd and 3, 9-yard completion. Then you get Beanie Bishop. Like I said, I thought he really showed up in this game, and to me, he's been the one standout at cornerback in a position that has really struggled for West Virginia. A lot of guys getting beat over the top. A lot of guys playing too far off the wide receiver, not rushing up to make a tackle to try and break up the pass, to attack the ball when it's a deep ball. He's the one guy that I've seen do almost all of those things, if not all the time. He's at least attempted to do them most of the time. But he gets a deep breakup on a deep ball pass, a shot they took to Powell, who was kind of the guy they were trying to hit all day. As I said, on that first touchdown that they hit him on that 38-yard touchdown, got behind Wilson Lamp, who then was kind of escorted out in favor of Malachi Ruffin seeing the field more. But Beanie Bishop didn't allow that to happen. Aubrey Burks with his second TFL following that, put it into a 3rd and long. And then on that 3rd and long, just like that initial possession where they had that soft coverage and they had that out route, but the quarterback missed the throw, almost identical play. Our corner's too far off. Out route this time, hits it easily, and it's a conversion easily for Duquesne. Following the conversion, then this is where you get the standout play for the West Virginia defense in this game, in my opinion. And it was something that really got me excited, because one thing that we've seen West Virginia struggle with, we saw them struggle with it a little bit against Penn State, and we really saw them struggle with it all year last year, was defending the deep ball. Particularly, it's in the air. They don't go up and get it. They really, a lot of our corners in the past, couple years or so since, that 2020 season when West Virginia had the #1 pass defense in the nation, have really struggled at playing the football. So then on that next play, to see Duquesne try a deep shot to DJ Powell again, and Beanie Bishop is in position. And not only is he in position, but he high points the ball, battles the receiver, wrestles it away from him for the interception. West Virginia's first forced turnover of the 2023 season. Really impressive to me and really got me excited. And I thought we saw some positive signs from Beanie Bishop, for as much as the West Virginia secondary may have been lacking at times in this game, because there were still holes, don't get me wrong. Beanie Bishop, I thought, was a silver lining, bright spot. So the turnover, like I said, first turnover of 2023, Beanie Bishop's first interception as a Mountaineer. That, of course, is the transfer that came in from Minnesota throughout the offseason. West Virginia's third drive, West Virginia starts on their own 6. It would end up being a 94-yard touchdown drive. Kicked off with a face mask of Garrett Green. Got us out of the shadow of our own goal line. but I thought it kind of got Garrett revved up a little bit. Garrett's a guy that's a highly emotional player. He's a real competitor, Neil Brown has said, and I think you saw a little bit of that come out. And after that, I thought he really, even stepped up his game and played even better than he had been prior to that, especially as we said, after the rain delay, he really came out firing, I thought. But first down following that, Cole Taylor was open, and this is the other throw I was talking about that I saw Garrett Green miss when he missed high there to him. But then on 2nd and 10, Garrett Green dropped in a great D ball to Hudson Clement for a 39-yard gain. So you see the first big play for Hudson Clement. We saw the 14-yard TD earlier. Then you get the 39-yard gain here. Then an RPO to convert on 3rd and 6, and that's when you get the Cole Taylor catch to end the first quarter. Start of the second quarter, they go back to Cole Taylor on a tight end screen. Probably the most impressive play I saw from Cole Taylor all day. It was a 15-yard gain, but I thought he really showed some power on that play, just muscling guys for an extra, 5-6 yards at the end of the play. And, that 6'7", 260 frame that he has, he showed it there. And people were talking about him potentially being an NFL player, and he might be. And then following that play, you're down into, 1st and goal territory from the 9. West Virginia runs that outside zone with Jalen Anderson, and he's so good on that play. I know that's the one bad thing I can say there was I want to see them, give Jalen Anderson a little bit more variation. He gets a ton of the outside zones and not much else. I mean, I know that seems like his specialty, and he's very good on that. But on this one, it works out. 9-yard touchdown run for Jalen Anderson, and he looked good on some of the carries that he got today. So West Virginia would then take the lead there, never relinquish it from that point after going up 14-7. But see what else we got here in the chat, and then I will continue to roll through my thoughts that I kind of jotted down as the game was going. Like I said, appreciate everyone that's in here live, whether you're tuning in on the West Virginia channel at the Voice of College Football or the Big 12 at the Voice of College Football channel. We appreciate you tuning in to either one and ask that you would subscribe to either one, and be sure hit that like button on the video. Really helps, and that helps us whether you're watching this live or if you're watching this after the fact on the playback. But I appreciate you, Joey, plugging our thing there. Joey put the link in the chat for us. If you guys aren't subscribed to our channel as well, Country Roads Webcast, be sure and do that. Like I said, long form podcast episodes, couple a week at least throughout the season, and then we do our own live streams and West Virginia roster updates, depth chart updates, recruiting updates, you name it. So I appreciate that, Joey. WVU played good. Tony Mathis played well for Houston. Hey, glad to hear that for Tony as well. Definitely wish the best for Tony. I think West Virginia has an absolutely loaded backfield, which we saw today. So I don't blame him for going out and going and playing with Dana at Houston. And I think probably the best for him to get, more carries and more playing time. So glad to see that, glad to hear rather that it's working out for him, I guess. But Brian Miller says, bad week for the Big 12. Yeah, I guess if you don't include Texas, because, I guess we don't really include them as a Big 12 team anymore. But either way, you got to be impressed by that. To go on the road and win at Alabama is tough enough, but they went on the road and won at Alabama by double digits. So really impressed by Texas. The players were there, as they always are, and that's what we've heard every offseason. And, last year I really bought in on them. I picked them to win the Big 12 last year. So this year I said, no, I'm not doing it. It seems like when I bought in on them and they let me down. So I'm like, I'm not going to buy it this year. I think I predicted them to finish 3rd in the conference. Had them at like 9-3, if I'm not mistaken. But they're proving me wrong, certainly off the bat here. Hopefully we'll see if they can, maintain it throughout the season. But they certainly look impressive. Xavier Worthy, Quinn Ewers looks really great. Yeah, they look the part. But yeah, bad week for the Big 12 overall. Don't disagree with you there. Not mad that West Virginia doesn't play Texas, by the way. Rob L says, yeah, man, secondary is crappy. Yeah. At this point, 2-game sample size, it has been. The bright spot is, or I guess, the optimistic side, the glass half full side, is at least they forced 2 turnovers in this game. If they're going to be crappy in the secondary, they're going to have to be opportunistic and force turnovers at least. Last year, that's one thing that hurt them. They were bad in the secondary, and they didn't force any turnovers. Only 10 total turnovers forced on the season last year, 4 interceptions, 6 fumble recoveries. So at least, through 2 games, they're halfway to matching their interception total from last season. Had 4 last year, already got 2 this season. So hopefully, maybe they're going to be better at forcing turnovers, is what we can hope. I think Beanie Bishop, maybe you can use him to cover the better receiver on an opposing team, but I don't know, because I don't know if we can trust any of our other corners in man at this point. Um, West Virginia's in a tough spot in the secondary again, it looks like, but who knows? Maybe somebody will step up. Like I said, Jacoby Spells looks like he's going to have to get more playing time. Definitely, probably against Pitt, and maybe even more throughout the season. Uh, Wilson Lamp had a rough day today. Hopefully, he bounces back. Um, Ruffin, I think, has continued to improve throughout his career, but Beanie Bishop is the one solid guy there. I like our safeties. I like Anthony Wilson. I like Aubrey Burks, and the walk on Avery Wilcox getting an interception was good. But yeah, secondary is not a strength by any means. As Timothy says, definitely need work on the back end, 100%. Rice got out to a 20-point lead and held on. Dana was pissed. I could only imagine how many headsets were thrown. Oh, man. That's rough. Rob Hill says he didn't mind what he saw from Nico. Yeah, I didn't either. I thought sometimes, as I said, we saw a little bit about what Neil Brown apparently told the announcers, that he thinks a little bit too much when he's out there. But once he settled in, and you could tell he wasn't really thinking as much and just felt like he was feeling a little bit more, I thought his reads were better, and he was playing better overall in general. Hey, we got Joey popping in here. What's going on, Joey?
Hey. I had to pop in for just a second because a great win. Anytime West Virginia wins a game, it's a great win. It doesn't matter who it's against. So congratulations, hats off to them. I wasn't real happy with the quarterback play tonight, but one thing I was happy with was um, Houston and Dana Holgerson's press conference. Never mind. But, me and Nick are over here in the comment section talking about it, cough, 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 and making excuses about why they lost. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Typical Dana, you know how that is. But anyway, no, I wasn't real impressed with either quarterback tonight, Garrett Green or Nico. Now, mind you, Garrett Green came out really slow. Now he picked up after the rain delay, and I agree with that. Nico probably wasn't the worst quarterback, but at the same time, he didn't set the world on fire either. I was really happy with our line, and I was really happy with our receivers, or a couple of receivers anyway.
Yeah.
But Nico, I think that I have to agree with Neil Brown after watching Nico tonight. Garrett Green may be a little bit ahead of him. I mean, I was not
Yeah.
happy about Garrett Green being the starting quarterback this whole season. I mean, I thought Nico should be it, but he was throwing some balls in the ground and skipping them in there and missing some passes.
Yeah, I think you can see, the flash. You can see the potential of Nico at times. I thought he looked really good running the football, but the passing game, I think you can tell that he's just a little young still yet, maybe just not quite ready yet. And I agree. I think that I see that Garrett's probably the better option for us right now. But I thought that the line played better after the delay. I was a little bit upset with them before the rain delay, just the way they came out. Thought the whole team seemed a little lackadaisical before the rain delay, but after that, it seemed like a different team. But all in all, that's offensively, that's what I came away most, I guess. I don't know if I want to say impressed, but after the first game, I was kind of discouraged about our passing offense. But this game just made me a little bit less worried about our passing offense, I guess, because it looked a lot better in this game. Like you said, some of those receivers really stepped up. Hudson Clement might be a diamond in the rough that we found, and I think if he is, and you can play him on the outside along with Devin Carter, who I think proved his worth in that first game against Penn State. You might have a couple outside receivers. If you can keep Preston Fox there on the inside and Rodney Gallagher continues to come on, and you still got Traylon Ray, we might have some receivers on this team after all, Joey.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So I just wanted to come in and just say it real quick, and thank you, Jordan, for doing this for the Voice of College Football. You're awesome,
Oh, I love it, man.
and
I
the whole
appreciate
whole,
y'all.
whole crew over there at Country Roads Webcast. Just real quick to the chat. Appreciate you guys being in here tonight. I'm going to post a link, and it's to our our merchandise store at here at the Voice of College Football. It's topqualityshirts.com. but you can go to that link I just posted in the chat. Will take you straight over to West Virginia football at the voiceofcollegefootball.com. So you can get some West Virginia merchandise there. And
Awesome.
I love, I've got a beer glass, and I'm sorry I don't have the beer glass here with me tonight, but I've got a West Virginia football at the Voice of College Football beer glass. And I love that thing. So,
Oh, that's great.
but anyway, Jordan, appreciate you doing this, man. And hey, let's go Mountaineers.
Hey, indeed, always. Let's go Mountaineers. Appreciate you, Joey, as
All right.
always.
Take care, Jordan.
Definitely, you too. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, definitely, everybody, check out that merch link Joey dropped there in the chat. Um, it is the top quality shirts link there. Should be in both chats, the Big 12 chat and the West Virginia football chat. I'm going to have to check that out myself. Get me some West Virginia at the Voice of College football merch. But as Joey said, appreciate everyone that's in here live with us. Won't keep you guys too much longer. Like I said, the rain delay, delayed the game a couple hours, so delayed our show a couple hours. I know everyone probably doesn't want to be up too late. Got the NFL starting tomorrow. Some people might have to work. I actually do, but I'll be listening to the Panthers game while I'm working at least. Hopefully Bryce Young has a good debut, but I digress on that. As far as West Virginia is concerned, continue my rundown of my thoughts, and I'll catch up on some of your alls throughout. So encourage you guys, drop your thoughts in the chat there, questions, comments, concerns, anything you have in regards to West Virginia's 56-17 win over Duquesne, or anything in regards to the West Virginia football season in general. We appreciate all your thoughts there. Be sure, like and subscribe to both the Big 12 channel and the West Virginia college football channel. But having said that, then you get into the second quarter, where Duquesne's first drive, Mike Lockhart blew up a first down run for a 3-yard tackle for loss, and man, he really shot in the backfield on that play. I thought Mike Lockhart flashed some in this game, especially on some of the run plays that Duquesne was trying on early downs, first down particularly. Ruffin got his hand in and broke up a deep ball shot that Duquesne was trying on third down to force the 3 and out. So like I said, he subbed in for Wilson Lamp after that first drive, and I thought played better, although, still left a little bit to be desired there. The defense seemed to improve a little bit and settle in once they made that switch. Preston Fox had a 13-yard punt return following that. His first of a couple good punt returns. I think the other one was somewhere between 20 to 30 yards, but ended up getting called back for a penalty. And he's shown that in the past, ever since he took over that job late last season. I'm not going to be surprised to see Preston Fox, break one for a decent return at some point. I'd love to see him score a touchdown. West Virginia has had kick return touchdowns in recent years, but we actually haven't had a punt return touchdown since 2012. So been over a decade now. So dying to see one of those. But WVU's first drive of the second quarter, CJ comes back in. He was a little banged up there towards the end of the first quarter, scared me. Came back in for a little bit here in the second quarter. Then they kind of rested him more throughout. But then you get a Garrett Green deep ball play action to Jeremiah Aaron in the end zone. And this is another one that I was talking about that was dropped. The coverage, though, was a little bit tougher on this one. He had a guy essentially right on his back, but Garrett Green dropped it right in there. I thought his deep balls looked good for the most part in this game. West Virginia goes for it on 4th and 8 with 11 personnel, but the tight end being Cole Taylor lined up in the slot. So it's essentially a 4 wide receiver look. Jeremiah Aaron open, Garrett Green throw low there. So another one there that Green missed out of the few that he did miss that I talked about. There was a handful there of those, quote unquote layups. Brown talked about him needing to hit that he unfortunately missed in this one. That was one of those. So then Duquesne's next possession there in the second quarter, their second possession in the second quarter, Powell again gets behind the West Virginia defense. But luckily for the Mountaineers, the quarterback Parantes slightly overthrows him. So then it's 2nd and 12. They do find Powell, though, on the 3rd and 12, and it's a 34-yard gain. So he was their target on the deep ball. He got behind us a couple of times, but a couple of times West Virginia made plays. I talked about Malachi Ruffin breaking one up, the Beanie Bishop pick. So at least, they're making some plays this season as opposed to last season when it was like it was all bad. And like I said, the turnovers are the silver lining for me there. Duquesne follows that up with another 30-yard completion, sets up 1st and goal. WVU holds them to a field goal, and then that's when we get the weather delay, hour and 52-minute delay. And then West Virginia gets the ball following that delay, and that's when we start to see West Virginia kind of wake up. And like I said, it was a tale of two teams, pre-weather delay and post-weather delay. And this is when it seemed like West Virginia kicked it into high gear. First play following the delay, you get Jalen Anderson, 11-yard rush. And then Hudson Clement burns the Duquesne defense. Garrett Green hits him in stride for a 70-yard touchdown. Clement's second, didn't even have any catches in his career coming into this game. Ends up with multiple touchdowns. At this point, he had 3 catches, 100-plus yards, 2 touchdowns. Then West Virginia would force Duquesne into a 3-and-out, get the ball back. 2nd and 7 on their third possession of the second quarter. Garrett Green play action pass to Hudson Clement for a first down. Then they go tempo, go fast, play action pass. Clement is wide open again. Third touchdown of the game. And third touchdown of the half, for that matter, because we were still in the second quarter at this point. 46-yarder that time for Clement. And then 3-and-out again for Duquesne, with Aubrey Burks ending that drive with a sack. Like I said, Aubrey Burks, multiple tackles for a loss and a sack in this game. I thought he showed up as we kind of would expect him to. Then I got my last page of notes here, and then I'll just go over the scoring plays with you guys, and that'll be all I have, and I'll just chat with you guys and won't keep you all too much longer, like I said. But then we come into West Virginia's fourth possession of the second quarter. This would be the last possession for the starters on the West Virginia offense. They get down to face a 4th and 2, and this is when the first time we would see Luke Hamilton come on. He would come on multiple times later in the game, and this is the fullback West Virginia brought in from Towson. He was FCS All-American, came here as a preferred walk-on this year. West Virginia said they were going to use him. Love that he's wearing that 35. Kind of makes you reminiscent of Owen Schmidt, and West Virginia hasn't used a fullback in who knows how long. Can't even remember the last time they had a traditional fullback, so it's fun to see him come in there. And on 4th and 2, he came in, lead blocks for CJ to get the first down. And then you get Preston Fox with back-to-back receptions, the second of which is a 22-yard touchdown pass, which was Garrett Green's 4th touchdown pass of the first half, and that would be the end of his day. Like I said, the end of the day for the starters. So was glad to see Preston Fox redeem himself after, he had dropped a touchdown pass versus Penn State, dropped one earlier in this game, then comes out on that drive. Great catch on a big play, and then a 22-yard touchdown catch right there in the middle of the defense. So good stuff from the starting slot receiver for the Mountaineers, or has been throughout this season up to this point. Then West Virginia's first possession of the third quarter. The second team is on, Nico's on, and Nico's on with the second team offensive line as well, actually. CJ Donaldson does remain in, though. I think this will be his final drive. He had an incredibly strong run to start the third quarter there, and then followed that up with another 10-plus yard run. Then you get Jashawn Polk's first catch as a Mountaineer on 3rd and long. Good throw by Nico on that one. He threw it completely across the field. Probably the best throw I've seen Nico make on the day, arguably. But Jashawn Polk, glad to see him finally getting in the action. The Kent State transfer, heard about his speed, brought in for that reason, him as well as E.J. Horton. Unfortunately, they were both hurt week 1. Jashawn Polk back now. E.J. Horton's supposed to be back next week, so I'm excited to see, what's supposed to be the fastest West Virginia receiver, potentially the best deep threat, make his debut in the backyard brawl. Hopefully he can catch Pitt off guard. Maybe we'll see what happens. But then WVU, unfortunately, does get stuffed on 4th and 1 on that possession. It was an inside run to Jalen Anderson that was blown up. Turnover on downs. And like I said, that was a second-team offensive line running into that interior. Looked like Sully Weedman got pushed back a little bit. You had Landon Livingston in at center as well. And then West Virginia would even play some of the freshman offensive linemen later in the game, kind of getting into some third stringers. West Virginia's second possession of the third quarter. This is when you would start to see Jaheim White kind of take off. And like I said, I'm really excited about Jaheim White. Just brings a different element to the running back room that West Virginia hasn't had in quite some time. Think of guys like, Steve Slayton, Noel Devine, Jock Sanders, Tavon Austin, just those diminutive, speedy guys that West Virginia used to have, consistently there for a while. Jaheim White fits that mold. And like I said, it's just something different that West Virginia hasn't had, that home run electric capability. And he breaks off a 38-yard run on an outside zone play on West Virginia's second possession of the third quarter. And then Rodney Gallagher, follows that up. They go tempo, quick little bubble screen to Rodney Gallagher. You see his speed. He gets the corner. and his speed allows him to beat everybody to the edge. He dives for the pylon. Looks like it's going to be a touchdown. Unfortunately, the ball slips out of his hand, fumbled out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. So West Virginia's, I guess, second turnover there. I guess that on the stat sheet goes down as a turnover for the Mountaineers. Fumble through the back of the end zone, but you hate it for Rodney Gallagher because it looked like it was going to be his first career West Virginia touchdown, and that's coming at some point this season, I'd say. But the thing you like about it is, like I said, he showcased the speed on the screen to get to the edge and get there to the end zone, and you can't necessarily be mad at him either. Obviously, wanted to have a better grip on that ball if he's going to do that, but you love the hustle and the effort for him to try and reach out and get that touchdown. And he hit the pylon. It would have been 6, just the ball came out before he crossed it. But then West Virginia's third possession of the third quarter, you see Nico show good speed on a scramble where he picked up 10-plus yards for a first down. Nico to Cole Taylor on a back shoulder throw for a 20-plus yard pass. And like I said, Cole Taylor looks the part for sure. They were talking about him being an NFL prospect, and I tend to agree with what we've seen so far. But when Nico was in, one of the positives I saw from him was he looks fast as well. I thought he had some really good runs while he was in the game. And then West Virginia closes out that third possession of the third quarter with Jaheim White's first career touchdown as a West Virginia Mountaineers. 19-yard run on an outside zone play, punching it in there. And then West Virginia would get the ball back one more time there in the third quarter, and they would have DJ Oliver in at halfback, and he would get some carries later on throughout the game, scoring his first touchdown after that. But the last highlight play for the defense that I had jotted down, of course, was the other interception. Like I said, walk-on safety Avery Wilcox getting in on the action late in the game, intercepts the pass and returns it 32 yards, which was great. But how about true freshman Ben Cutter providing the pressure that led to that interception on that play? So those are kind of my notes as I was going through the game. I didn't really go further than that. I kind of stopped there in the third quarter for obvious reasons, and I don't want anybody's eyes to glaze over too much. But just want to run down the scoring plays, and then I will catch up with your all's comments, and we'll get up out of here before too much longer. Appreciate you guys tuning in to the West Virginia postgame here at the Voice of College Football following the 56-17 win for West Virginia over Duquesne in Game 2 of the 2023 West Virginia Mountaineers football season. That's now sees West Virginia move to 1-1, setting up the showdown in the backyard brawl against the Pittsburgh Panthers. Scoring plays in the game. Duquesne scored first, 7-0 with 12 minutes left in the first. That was the 38-yard touchdown pass to DJ Powell. And then you get West Virginia answering with a 14-yard touchdown pass from Garrett Green to Hudson Clement. That was the first passing touchdown of the season for West Virginia, actually. So I guarantee no one on their bingo card had Hudson Clement catching the first touchdown of the season for the Mountaineers. And then West Virginia would score again in the second quarter with 14:40 remaining to make it 14-7 on a 9-yard touchdown run by Jalen Anderson. Duquesne would tack on a field goal in the second quarter with 8:14 remaining to make it 14-10. That was the final play before the rain delay. And like I said, after the rain delay, that's when you see West Virginia take off, as you'll see here, scoring several unanswered, going up 21-10 with 6:20 left in the second on the 70-yard touchdown pass from Hudson Clement. From Garrett Green to Hudson Clement, excuse me. And then going up 28-10 with 3:57 remaining in the second on a 46-yard touchdown pass from Garrett Green to Hudson Clement again. And then 35-10 with 39 seconds left until halftime, 22-yard pass, Garrett Green to Preston Fox. Then in the third quarter, with 4 minutes left, Jaheim White would get that 19-yard touchdown run to put the Mountaineers up 42-10, his first career touchdown. And then 42-17 would be the score once Duquesne finally punched another one into the end zone in the third quarter. Parantes with a 16-yard touchdown pass. And then 2 more scores West Virginia would tack on. Nico with a rushing touchdown with 9:50 remaining in the game from 1 yard out on 4th and goal zone read play. Talked a lot throughout this offseason about West Virginia bringing back some of those option looks. We saw even some triple option looks a little bit against Penn State, but definitely saw some good plays on the zone read, both from Garrett Green and Nico Marchiol in this one. And Nico punches it in for a touchdown to make it 49-17. And then the final score of the game would come from true freshman running back DJ Oliver. his first career touchdown as a Mountaineer. Probably expect him to redshirt this season, but he can play in up to 4 games. And you like what you saw from him when he's in there. He's a load, weighs about the same as CJ Donaldson at right at 240, but he's a little bit shorter, a little bit stockier. So, he's about 5'10", 5'11", but I think he's a little bit faster as well. Been rumored he runs a 4.5, and he certainly looks the part of a guy that's very athletic, and I think bright future for West Virginia. We know how loaded that running back room is, and he punches in the final touchdown to give us our final score of 56-17 that we end up with here in this final one for West Virginia. So appreciate everyone tuning in here. Going to catch up on your all's comments here, and we'll wrap up the Game 2 post-game show for the Mountaineers here in the 2023 football season. Let me take a swig of my coffee real quick, and then I will catch up on some of your all's comments. But before I do, I want to remind you guys one more time. You see the ticker scrolling along the bottom of the screen there. Up in the chat, there should also be a link. Like I said, guys, tickets for the Backyard Brawl are premium right now. Great source to get them is Ticket Smarter. Check it out. Save on your trip to the big game with Ticket Smarter. Get $10 off an order of $100 or more by using the promo code BIG, or get $20 off an order of $300 or more using the promo code BIG20. Use the promo code as much as you'd like. Ticket Smarter gives you the most competitive prices on the secondary market, and your purchase is safe and guaranteed. Get in the game with TicketSmarter.com and the Ticket Smarter mobile app, and remember the promo code BIG and BIG20. Think smarter, Ticket Smarter. Having said that, guys, drop a like on the video, subscribe to both the Big 12 and West Virginia channel. I'm going to catch up on some of your all's comments, and then we'll call it a day here in what has been a fun day of college football. And it's always a bit funner when West Virginia comes out on the winning side, as they did today. Let me see if I can find out where I was here in the chat. Still laughing at that one, HR picking stuff. USC 42-3 in the second quarter. That offense is insane. Indeed it is. I'm hoping hopefully Caleb Williams and Zachariah Branch are doing good things. Got them both on my college fantasy team and started them both this week. Mike Gundy's son is playing quarterback right now. How's Oklahoma State looking against Arizona State? I'm going to try and probably catch the tail end of that one when it ends here. I was hoping the Fighting Gundys would be able to come out and do some things there. I know he played a little bit last week as well, but you can never count out Mike Gundy regardless. Timothy Green said CJ Donaldson did the splits. I know that had me nervous, man, but it was funny though, because that was like the play before when he was in pass protection, and then the next play we went tempo and he ran it. So it's like CJ Donaldson's just super tough, because despite being injured on the play before, still ran it and gained 3 to 5 yards on that play. But just with what happened last season, I was nervous when he went out, but glad to see he was all right. Came in for a couple more series, and then they got him out of there, and hopefully he can rest up and be ready for the big Backyard Brawl coming up. Nick DTV says, I remember that punt return that sealed the deal against UCF to win us the Big East. Good memory, Nick D. Good memory. Isaac Wilcox says, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if CJ was playing through a groin strain. Yeah, it certainly looked like the way that he split like that, it would have been a groin issue or something like that. And those are tedious, but I mean, he's tough enough that he would, play through something like that indeed. But those things are just, they can really pester you. I've had a groin issue back when I played basketball before. It bothered me for years and years. Nick DTV says, our secondary has trouble in zone coverage, field awareness, staying in their zone, and finding the receivers when they run in their zone. Yeah, I know. The secondary is just, I don't know if it's a communication issue or what it is, but I'm hoping that they really just hone in on that this week and get it cleaned up. Because I think we saw Duquesne come out and attack downfield for a reason. I think they realized that was probably a weakness for us. And obviously, if they're realizing that, Pitt's going to do the same. I haven't, had a chance to really watch a lot of Pitt this season. I don't know how Jerkovich is doing for them, but either way, West Virginia's got to shore up the secondary. We know Pitt's a physical team that wants to establish the run first, but that doesn't mean they can't hurt you with the passing game. They did it at times last season with West Virginia's secondary, as bad as it hurt. They really were killing us with play action pass and a ton of different things last year. So hopefully West Virginia's more prepared this season. They got a week to get ready for this game, and I think everyone in that building and everyone on that staff has to know how important this game is. not only for us fans throughout Mountaineer Nation because of the rivalry, because of it being Pitt, but because Neil Brown, I truly believe that, his coaching tenure moving forward could really hinge on this Pitt game, and the success of West Virginia's season this year could hinge on this Pitt game. And thus, because of those two things being true, then the future of West Virginia's football program has a lot riding on this Pitt game as well. So it's vital that they improve that secondary. I appreciate you, Rob L. Agree with you. Matthew Stevens says, can't blame him for lack of effort, though. No, you cannot. No, you cannot. Arizona State up on Oklahoma State. Appreciate the update, G Smyrna. But I know it's late. Appreciate everyone that's tuned in with us despite, having such a late start because of the weather delay. But it's really been fun chatting with you guys, and I look forward to doing it more and more throughout the season on these West Virginia post-game shows here at the Voice of College Football. I'm going to be doing them after every game throughout this season. So looking forward to chatting with you guys more. Like I said, there'll be simulcast here on the West Virginia at the Voice of College Football channel and on the Big 12 channel at the Voice of College Football. So be sure to go ahead, sub up both of those channels if you haven't already. And definitely, if you're subscribed to the West Virginia channel, but you haven't to the Big 12 yet, be sure to do that. We're trying to grow that Big 12 channel, and it really would help us if you would throw us a subscription there. But appreciate you guys tuning in on either one that you have here for this post-game show following the 56-17 West Virginia win over Duquesne. The Mountaineers moved to 1-1 on the 2023 season. Hopefully, we're talking about more wins on these post-game shows throughout the season, especially coming up next week. You guys know who's coming up on the schedule. Don't got to tell you about this one. Like I said, a lot hanging in the balance for this game. And of course, it's the backyard brawl, which means enough on its own. But really appreciate you guys tuning in here to the West Virginia postgame show with the Voice of College Football channel. One more time, I'm Jordan from the Country Roads webcast. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube or on any podcast platform you like, where you can find our long form audio podcast preview and game review episodes. Check us out on social media as well. As you see on the whiteboard behind me on X/Twitter, we're at WVU Country Roads, at Country Roads Webcast on everything else. Like this video before you head out, whether you watched it live or on a playback. If you didn't get a chance to chat with us live, drop your thoughts on the game in the comments. We appreciate that as well. Sub to the Voice of College Football channels, West Virginia and Big 12. Come back with us throughout the season for more of these post-game shows. Hopefully they're after more successful games like this one was for the Mountaineers, coming away victorious over the Duquesne Dukes, as West Virginia now sits at 1-1 on the 2023 season. Appreciate everyone that came out for this one. Looking forward to the next one. As always, until next time, let's go Mountaineers.